What's up, gamers? Everybody out there in YouTube land, Nintenjoel here, and I've got another installment of 10 great games that won't break the bank. And now, of course, this episode, in case you can't read, is on the PlayStation 2. And I'm just going to be talking about 10 great games that are generally under 20 bucks. There's a couple that hover right around 20 bucks, but either way, you can generally find these for about that price, or a lot less in some of these instances. So I highly encourage you to check these out, because not every collector slash gamer has to go for all the expensive games. I'm guilty of doing that myself, but you know, sometimes I get a cheap game and I find out it's amazing. So yeah, in fact, this first game, Capcom Classics Collection, introduced me to one of my favorite Nintendo games, and this is actually arcade ports, but still there's many games that were on Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis. And Gunsmoke was on this, and that was how I actually played Gunsmoke for the first time, and freaking loved it. And when I went to go find it online, I found out that it was like a $7 game, so I just figured, I'll find it in the wild. And eventually I did. Great game. So glad that I found it on this list, but there's a bunch of other great games on this, including 3 versions of Street Fighter 2. There's just the normal Street Fighter 2, there's the Hyper Fighting, and there's the Championship Edition. And there's also 3 Ghosts and Goblins type games. There's Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is amazing. That's so cool. All 3 of those games in one collection is pretty much worth the price of this collection. So yeah. On top of that, Hiccup. Sorry about that. I have a lot of. I don't have. This has a lot of shooters on it, and some pretty good ones too. The kind of standard ones are 1942, 1943, Legendary Wings, but the really 2 good ones that I was pretty impressed with were Forgotten Worlds and, of course, Gunsmoke, and those games just blew me away. They're really fun shooters and kind of original. Gunsmoke is a Western shooter, overhead shooter. It's pretty crazy. You're walking around, but it's definitely in a shooter kind of fashion. And Forgotten World is cool because you can kind of spin your character around on its axis, shoot things behind you and shoot things in front of you, and like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely check this out. There's also like Commando and Mercs on here, so yeah, it's such a good compilation or collection, whatever you want to call it, and it's generally less than 10 bucks. Can't go wrong with that one unless you already have all these games. So that was a long explanation for the first game. Moving on, we've got Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Now, I've talked about this game many times, and this is a hack and slash dungeon crawler, really. You go around beating up orcs and insects and giant rats and sorcerers and all kinds of shit, and you basically get strong, you get a bunch of weapons and armor, and you go back to town and sell it all, and then you get stronger, and then you go back and do it again, and you buy more shit, and you sell more shit, you get stronger, and you get stronger, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love games like this. There's also a Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. It's quite a bit more expensive, but the first one is just as good, and generally is about 10 bucks, maybe a couple more bucks than that if you want a complete box copy. But yeah, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, you cannot go wrong with this. It's really cool the way you can like increase your stats too. When you level up with enough experience, it's more of an American RPG rather than a JRPG, where you actually get to increase your stats yourself. So you can increase your strength, your dexterity, or how much you can carry. So yeah, pretty darn cool. Okay, so the third one we've got for you, Contra, Shattered Soldier. This is a game I never really heard much about, and now that I've played it and saw how cheap it was, I'm actually surprised. This is a really good game. It's just a run and gun game. I mean, it's not one of the original Contras, but it's got really good graphics. It's got this cool effect where the plane kind of shifts, where you're like running around and then all of a sudden the screen turns while you go around a corner, and it's almost this like 2.5D perspective, and it's really cool. There's a lot of shit flying at you. There's tons of cool firepower. It's basically a Contra game. I don't know why this game doesn't get talked about as much, but Contra Shattered Soldier is definitely a really fun run and gun that, you know, deserved the better graphics of like the PS2 era. So I think it's a really good game. And there is, I'm pretty sure, another Contra game on PS2, but I haven't run into that one yet. If you guys have played that one, let me know what you think of it, because I can't even remember the name of it right now. Okay, so next, fourth game we have Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I just got this in my last pickup video and I was really stoked. I love Gauntlet games, including the first Gauntlet, Arcade Gauntlet, Gauntlet 2, Gauntlet Dark Legacy, Gauntlet Legends. I mean, you name it. I pretty much like the Gauntlet games. Oh, Gauntlet 64. But yeah, really fun game. Kind of similar to Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, where it's just a hack and slash and run around and destroy mythical creatures and fuck shit up and get more powerful and repeat for a long time. And yeah, it makes for a very fun game and something that you just want to get further and further in. Very fun, and yeah, under 20 bucks. This one's kind of barely under 20 bucks, but definitely worth it. Okay, out of all these games, this is the game I've played the least, but it left an impression on me. Don't crucify me because I don't know much about it, but it's a game that I just know I have to play, and I know a lot of people love, because this mixes Disney and Final Fantasy characters. I mean, that's fucking crazy. Square Enix came out with Kingdom Hearts, and it basically created an entire franchise. There are so many Kingdom Hearts games now, it's hard to keep track of. But the first one is universally probably hailed as the best one. I don't know, the second one's pretty well liked as well. I only played it a little bit, so I don't really remember a lot, except for I really liked it, and I know I needed to play it more, but I was like balls deep in, I think, Earthbound or something, like a really important game that I really wanted to play, and so I didn't give it a good enough chance. But Kingdom Hearts is something I've been meaning to play for years and years and years. And yeah, now I have it, and I actually got the second one recently. And these games are not very expensive. Go out and get a copy if you don't have it. It's definitely worth it from what I hear. It's one of the few games where this is kind of a hearsay thing, but from what I did play of it, I really liked it. Okay, so moving on, we're halfway done. We've got one that's actually not universally loved, though when you take it alone, it is an amazing game. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Okay, so now, this is not the kind of game you normally see on my channel. I'm not a military guy. I'm not really a video game gun guy. I don't have anything against guns. I actually like guns. It's just, I don't know, I don't like modern type gun games, modern type warfare. Not modern warfare, I don't like that either, but yeah, but this is different. Metal Gear Solid games are different. You're sneaking around, you're trying to be an espionage expert, you're trying to fucking not kill everybody, not get caught, and just achieve your goals. And of course, you do have to do some killing, but it's really cool being stealthy and having all these moves. I mean, you can fucking flip to the right, flip to the left, you can fucking climb up and down things, you can hide in a box, you can hide in a fucking locker, you can run from people, you can hide around a corner, and you can do so much that it's really crazy. The one complaint I have about games like this, and maybe why I don't like these kinds of games as much, is that you can't not keep playing them. If you take a huge break from them, you have to relearn the controls and everything that you're able to do, and that's a bit of a daunting task. But if you just keep at it, these games are really fucking fun. I really liked the beginning of the game, like throwing the bad guys overboard and shit. On the ship, it was really fun. Really liked that a lot. Okay, so moving on, this is probably my favorite game of the pile, and I had to throw in one RPG because it wouldn't be a Nintenjoel video if I didn't throw in an RPG, but we got Shin Megami Tensei's Nocturne. Nocturne is fucking awesome. Shout out to people that like Pokemon games. If you want something darker and something way grittier and with much better graphics and controlling demons and fusing demons together, I highly suggest that you check out Nocturne. It's pretty cool because it does kind of incorporate that collecting your party kind of style of a game where you are this game you yourself do fight, but you get 3 other demons with you that you can choose between. You can have a host of demons to choose from, and you can combine them and get more powerful demons, which is actually essential for gameplay. Combat's really cool in the fact that depending on like elementally how you attack an enemy can affect how many turns you get, basically. So like, let's say there's an enemy that is weak to water and you hit it with a water-based attack, it'll actually give you an extra turn. You'll actually have like a counter at the top of your screen that shows how many turns you can take in battle in a row before an enemy gets to hit you. So if you hit enemies with the right elemental combination, or if you hit like a critical hit, you get like an extra like turn, and vice versa. Enemies, if they hit you really with a strong attack or something you're weak against, you will lose a turn and maybe they'll gain a turn. It's pretty crazy, but it adds a lot of it adds a lot of strategy to a turn-based system that most people are kind of done with. You know what I mean? RPGs have kind of moved past the turn-based system, but this way you get a lot of, I don't know, a lot of variety with the battle, and you actually have to think. This is a very hard game. This is also a very long game. It is described as one of the longest, one of the hardest, and one of the best RPGs on the PlayStation 2, and yet it's like $10. So I don't know what the fuck you guys were even watching this video for. Get Nocturne right now and play it. Turn this video off. Go play Nocturne. It's freaking awesome. Just kidding. Keep watching this video. Alright, so next we got Shadow of the Colossus. This is a classic that everybody, I think, loves. I have not played this one a ton, but I have played it a bit, and it's just really cool that there's like no enemies in this world, this gigantic world that you can run around in and ride a horse on, and you've got all this armor and fucking armaments and shit, but there's no enemies. The only enemies in this world are these gigantic creatures, these Colossus, and they roam around the landscape, and you have to find them, and they're so big you have to climb on them and defeat them and find their weak spot, use special attacks, and they're huge, and there's only like so many of them in the game. I think it's like 8 or 10, or I could be completely wrong, I don't remember, but yeah, it's crazy. There's only like 8 enemies in the game, or like 10, or whatever it is. There's only that many enemies in the game, and they are like the size of skyscrapers, and you have to climb on them and fuck them up. It's pretty crazy. Other than that, it's exploration of this beautiful, beautiful world. Really cool. Okay, so Silent Hill 2. I like the Silent Hill 2 game, or I like the Silent Hill games quite a bit, even though I'm not really a huge like survival horror type guy, but Silent Hill is pretty good, and I've only played the first and second one, so I don't have a lot to go on with the series, but Silent Hill 2 so far is my favorite. It's just a little cleaner than the first one, as far as graphically and just sound-wise, and play control. Play control is a lot tighter. The mechanics of battle are a lot better, and everything's just a lot smoother. Really good story, scary, just cool. I mean, it's just a fucking awesome game. If you like survival horror games, I don't know why you don't have Silent Hill 2 if you don't. So, yeah, get it. Oh, yeah, also, not very expensive, but this is one of the ones that's creeping on the $20 value. So, yeah, get it before it gets all, you know, in the $30 range and shit. Although, I don't really see any of the Silent Hills getting super expensive or anything like that. They're produced in large amounts of numbers. Though I have heard, and maybe some of you guys can confirm or deny this, Silent Hill 1 for PlayStation, I guess the Black Label copy is actually pretty hard to find, complete in box. I did not know that. Apparently the Greatest Hits copy is way, way more common. I guess they didn't release as many copies of the Black Label, so which happens a lot, but I guess it was like quite an imbalance, and from what I hear, finding a Black Label complete in box Silent Hill 1 is actually very hard to find. That is totally off topic, sorry about that. Last game for you guys. It's actually one of my favorites, Sylphid The Lost Planet. This is a Working Designs game, and if you know anything about Working Designs, they have amazing packaging. They're very good at making games that look like they took the time to really fine-tune everything. Graphically, this game's really fun. It's just an awesome shooter. It's an overhead shooter, and it's really cool because some of the planes like change with you. Like, for instance, when you're just going along, you can like all of a sudden dive and the screen will turn with you, and it's really freaking cool. Sound-wise, really nice. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ikaruga. I'm not really sure why. Maybe just because it's an overhead, you know, newer, slightly newer shooter. I'm used to like Nintendo and Super Nintendo shooters and Genesis. Sylphid for some reason reminds me of Ikaruga just a little bit. Ikaruga is way better than Sylphid, but Sylphid is worth the price. It's like literally like $3 for a disc-only copy, and if you want a complete in-box copy, it's going to cost you less than $10. I found mine in a store for I think like $4. So yeah, can't go wrong, and it's got the cool like foil cover. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, just Working Designs kicks ass. Such a good company. Yeah, so that's it. These are my 10 games that will not break the bank. 10 games under 20 bucks or around 20 bucks that just kick complete ass. If you don't have these games in your collection, I highly suggest getting them. Even if you may not necessarily be a fan of the genre, for these prices and for these quality of games, you might at least try it out. Like I said, not really into military games, but as soon as I played Metal Gear Solid 2, I freaking loved it. Not generally into collections, but this one is amazing. So yeah, like I said, just give some of these a shot. If you have given some of these a shot and you really like them, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of these games. And what I'd like even more from you guys is let me know what games you would put in a 10 great games that won't break the bank episode if you had to make one. You know what I mean? What are 10 games under 20 bucks for the PlayStation 2 that you personally would list that you think really kick ass and maybe people don't talk about enough? Some of these definitely people talk about, but others, Soulfeed, people don't talk about enough. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos by me, the Rambling Bearded Gamer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's red and it says subscribe. And I have a Facebook page. It's just Nintenjoel. Check that out. Oh, please share the video. Love when you guys share the videos. Just means more people are going to watch them and I can communicate with more people and get more entrenched in this retro scene with YouTube that I freaking love. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate it. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you again. I'm having a really hard time closing out this video, but I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Keep rocking retro games.